맑고 깨끗하게 피어나라고 겨울을 이겨낸 봄꽃이 내게 말했다. 맑고 깨끗한 칠성사이다.
짬뽕이네.
와, 맛있는 거.
근데 어디서 시킨 거예요? 그거 시킨 거 아닌데. 오뚜기 볶음 진짬뽕인데. 호뚜기 볶음 진짬뽕. 볶음 뜬 짬뽕. 볶음 뜬 짬뽕.
와, 정말로 화끈하네.
볶음 진짬뽕 외에는 절대 현혹되지 마소.
질서와 수호를 위해서라면
마귀 화염이.
누구도 나를 막을 순 없어. 방해하겠다면 전부 부숴주지.
나는 KT 기가 인터넷. 당신과 방송국을 만들죠. 어디서나 우린 함께해요. 어때요? 나랑 콜라보 하실래요? 당신의 KT.
KT와 아프리카TV가 함께하는 기가 콜라보 페스티벌. 강렬한 태양 아래 해운대 백사장에서 펼쳐지는 국내 최대 기가급 페스티벌. 기가 인터넷을 속도로 즐기는 e스포츠의 축제. 아프리카TV 인기 BJ가 총출동하는 KT 기가 레전드 매치 오버워치 BJ 리그. e스포츠의 성지 부산에서 펼쳐지는 KT 기가 레전드 매치. 폭풍저그 홍진호, 최종 경기 테란 이영호, 몽상과 프로토스 강민, 혁명과 프로토스 김태경. 다시 만나는 전설 속의 스타크래프트 영웅들. KT 기가 레전드 매치. 아프리카TV 인기 DJ들의 축하 공연까지 즐길 수 있는 올여름 최고의 기가급 페스티벌. KT와 아프리카TV가 함께하는 기가 콜라보 페스티벌에 여러분을 초대합니다.
2016 리우 올림픽을 기념한 라틴의 맛 탄생. 할라피뇨와 화끈한 치폴레 살사 소스까지. 올림픽 공식 버거 맥도날드 리우 195 버거. 다양한 라틴의 맛도 만나보세요.
메이플스토리2 신규 직업 스트라이커.
이거 좋은데?
답답할 때 마셔봐요 트로피카나. 상큼상큼 과일 듬뿍 스파클링.
리얼 프루트를 스파클링으로.
과즙이 톡톡 쏜다. 트로피카나 스파클링.
우리 올리브영에서 드디어 루이조를 변화시키기 위해 우리 아프리카와 함께 루이조 변화시키기 대장정이 들어갔어요. 이게 스타일 옴무 제품입니다. 피부 밝아지는 것 같은데? 와, 이름이 올리브영 클라스구나. 러마띠. 와우, 영국 스타일. 존나 멋있네. 나가면 번호 따일 것 같은데? 여기서 마무리할게요. 우리 제품은 올리브영 제품이었습니다.
스타일? 상쾌하면 되는 거야. 상쾌함의 높이가 다르다. Stylish Sparkling Water 롯데 트레비.
네, 아프리카TV와 함께하는 킹덤 스토리 연애의 신.
이거 사극을 찍는 것 같아요.
정말 안 어울립니다. 약간 왜소하고.
맞아요. 위초고 3국 대결.
장비! 나이스!
나 심쿵했어.
17,800원. 와, 군주는 무릎을 꿇을 수 있어요.
아, 뭐야, 이거 어떻게 본 건데? 저에게는 간호 장비 같은 존재입니다.
진짜 유익한 게임이니까 여러분들 진짜로 많이 해보셨으면 좋겠습니다.
기가 IoT 헬스. 올레 TV 켜고 퍼팅하고 바이크 타고 체지방 체크까지 실감나게 재밌다. 기가 IoT 헬스. 김지원의 KT.
오호, 물로 지금 거의 뭐 수분을 그냥 갖다 들이붓는 것 같아요. 자, 바른 쪽과 안 바른 쪽입니다. 차에 보여드릴게요. 내가 발라봤는데 대표는 앞으로 그냥 나도 찍어 발라야 될 것 같아요. 잘 봐요. 자, 이렇게 깔끔하게 아래쪽만 다듬어도 선이 딱 살아있잖아요. 선 라인 자체가. 잠깐만. 이런 느낌이구나. 오늘 여러 가지 제품들 올리브영에서 제가 지금 제품을 받아서 사용을 해봤는데 굉장히 좋은 것 같아요. 올리브영 제품이 짱인 것 같습니다.
올리브영 플러스 유소나 예뻐져라 뷰티 방송. 홈쇼핑 아닙니다. 첫 뷰티 방송. 시작하겠습니다. 달콤한 꽃에 겹겹이 둘러싸인 듯. 아 여러분, 이 모든 제품들은 올리브영에서 살 수 있습니다. 새로운 네일 아트로 사랑을 표현할게요. 감사합니다. 고맙습니다. 세상에.
미소가 생기다. 화사함이 생기다. 건강한 하루가 생기다.
pH 8.0과 풍부한 미네랄로 핑크빛 생기가 생기다. 아이시스 8.0.
이제 모두 핑크하세요.
(2016) Hot 6 GSL Season 2 Code S.
Welcome back, guys. This is the GSL Code S. We just saw a pretty dominant series where Deer just crushed Patience. Patience, he's a great player, but he just doesn't quite seem to be there, or at least seem to be on Deer's level in PvP.
I think PvP is his worst matchup. I said it earlier. I still think he is favored over Biel to get out of this group, but we'll see. He may potentially have to play all 3 matchups today. He may have to play Biel in the losers. That's unlikely, but possible. And then maybe Speed as well. So we'll see what happens here. But this next matchup, Biel, a 2-time finalist actually last year. We have 3 seasons a year, now we have 2 seasons, but last year we had 3, right? In both season 3s, he went to back-to-back finals. He went to the GSL finals and SSL finals and lost both. He was the Zerg hope. Many people said jokingly he was the chosen one. But, you know, he didn't win a tournament. He still hasn't won a Star League in his entire career. So he won a WCS tournament in America, but that's not the same prestige as winning a GSL or an SSL.
All right, guys, we're going to go into this match in just a little bit here. Here's his opponent, the self-declared underdog of this group. And, you know, like I was saying before, you know, I think that it takes a lot of humility to be like, look, I should be losing here, but I'm going to give it my best.
He made it to the round of 16 last season, which is more than Patience was able to do.
True.
And he went 0-4 versus Tasia and Hero, of course, that being CJ Hero. No shame in losing to either of those 2 players. But let's see how confident he is once he gets in-game. It's very rare to see teamless pro gamers go deep. Byun yesterday was not able to get out of the group. He was so close. Just a very rare circumstance to be against players that have cooks and maids and coaches, multiple coaches.
No, I mean, you know, the one-man army is a great fantasy, but you really need a team of people around you to help you. That's how you're going to succeed.
That goes for life, you know?
That's for life as well, you know? So, let's see what happens in this series. It is his EDT. Biel is a very dominant Zerg, although he's not as hot as he was before. But this could be a season where he might be able to redeem himself. He's going to have to get out of this group here first.
You know, very rarely do you see a player join a high-profile team like KT Rolster and leave right afterwards.
Right.
I get the feeling that Speed preferred practicing alone, so maybe this is actually what he likes and what he wants.
Maybe a lone wolf. Let's see what happens here. Biel is expected to win this, but we do have upsets all the time here at the GSL. Anyways, guys, this is going to be game 1 of the best of 3. Biel versus Speed on the map Dust Towers for match number 2 in tonight's GSL Code S. All right, down here in the blue, our Zerg player, he is
CJ Entis. Biel.
He and Hero carried this team last season of Pro League.
That's right. Moving on to our next player, our Terran player in the red, the only Terran in this group.
Speed.
Maybe he's a Speed Racer fan.
I don't know if this movie was for your time. Did you ever see the movie Speed? There's
that
a
sounds really
bomb,
familiar.
the bomb on a bus, and if it goes under like 50 miles an hour, the bus will explode. You never saw that?
No, I'm familiar with the plot line, but I never watched it actually.
That's a classic.
It's used in like a lot of different video games, like as like a like racing games in the story mode where like there's a situation like that where you have to go over like 700 kilometers an hour, the bomb blows up.
Yeah.
Like F-Zero GX has that
I
as
think
one of
they
their
did
missions.
Speed 2. I never actually saw that. That was like a boat that couldn't stop going.
What year was this film made in?
Oh man, this is like old. I think I was in elementary school, so.
So definitely beyond my time, I guess.
It might be like 20 years old or something.
Okay.
So it's quite old, but when I saw that idea, I was like, oh, you know what that makes me think of? That was Keanu Reeves, man.
Yeah.
That's right.
This before the Matrix.
Before the Matrix. Actually, the thing that's dumb about that movie is if you watch how many cars are crashing while that's going on, I'm like, I think they've killed. I don't mean to be too utilitarian here, but I believe you've killed more people
than the bomb would have killed.
Than the bomb would have killed. I think you should have just stopped the car and blown the bus up.
Yeah.
Anyways, we have a spawning pool on the way here. Actually, just now getting done. Excuse me. And 4 links coming up. Now, this map has made for some incredibly long games.
Yeah.
So this might be no exception to that.
Something to point out came up in the interview earlier. I just like to bring up player histories like this. This is the second time these two have ever played against each other. And Speed's opening match, and I think only game ever played in Pro League, was versus Biel, and he lost. So they have that specific history versus each other. So that's always going to be in the back of your mind. When you play in tournaments and you hit the same guy that you hit months ago, but he beat you once before, like the less times you played against someone, the more you remember it, especially someone like Speed, who has had like probably a 1/100th of the games played on televised matches that Biel has had, or even less. So he's really going to be remembering that moment. His only Pro League game where he lost.
Yeah. The links are coming up here now.
Ooh, this is.
That was an odd move to go.
He's trying to like rally Marines across the map like this is Wings of Liberty, but it's not. Really, kind of an odd choice to move out like that.
Yeah,
I suppose looking for the Overlord.
As I was watching that, I'm thinking, when's the last time I saw Marines actually rallied out? And I think it actually has been like a very long time.
Yeah.
I think even Biel was probably a little bit surprised to see those Marines actually on the map like that.
He must have been hunting the Overlord.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think for sure that's what he was doing. But you got to be careful when you're on the map like that with Marines. Marines are like some of the best units in the game, but you need them in big numbers. When they're in small numbers, they just don't really do anything. So. Interesting little move back there. And it seems like he's setting up to do a Widow Mine drop.
Yeah, this is not really in the meta right now, but we'll see what he can get done with it.
By the way, guys, if you're watching this, I would like to remind you that we have a second tournament, a sister tournament to the GSL. It is the ASL where we are doing StarCraft 1. So definitely check that out. That is the same time that this is on every
Sunday, Tuesday.
And Tuesday. Thank you. Every Sunday and Tuesday. So if you enjoy watching this, there's no reason why you wouldn't want to enjoy all of StarCraft and not just part of it. So definitely check that out. Anyways, we see a scan coming in over here. Now, he has 2 medevacs. Did he do the build wrong?
No,
I don't know why that's not
Okay,
full.
Look at this, by the way. Look at the production tab. That is a fusion core coming out at 4 minutes and 20 seconds.
Oh, yeah. I actually wasn't even looking for that.
He wants to get some BCs blazing, making that at 420. I don't know, but we'll see him. This drop should get shut down really hard by the Queen range. He already sees this coming. Now, I think we're going to see Banshee speed, I guess. I was joking about the BCs. We're definitely not going to see Liberator range. So I think he just wants to get Banshee speed out. We'll see if this ends up working. I mean, his name is Speed. Maybe that's the name of the game here. This is actually just kind of an unusual situation, guys. We can't really give you much insight into this build because we have to wait and see how it plays out before we can say anything.
Yeah, this is, but you know what? This might be a great way to play because, it does operate outside of
That is advanced ballistics. He's actually going for Liberator range in TVZ.
Oh, my God. Well, those medevacs barely get away.
But
the fact that Biel's on a team, he's probably used to the current meta that we're used to casting, you and I, Wolf. But, if there's a move that's done that Biel hasn't quite prepared for, and I have to imagine that Speed has practiced this a good amount, this could actually throw Zerg off big time.
Now, I wonder if Biel saw the fusion core, because if he sees this, he might think it's Cloak, because he sees the research on the tech lab. But he doesn't actually know. I don't think the Overlord saw the fusion core. We don't get a vision confirm on this. He's adding more spores and adding a lair. I mean, there's just no way to know if Biel knows without actually pressing the vision key, but I'm under the impression he did not see it. And so we'll see. Okay, this Overlord is going to come back in. When he sees the Liberator come out, that's probably going to be enough of a tell. Okay, why would he be making Liberators if he's going for Cloak?
Oh, he's got to be careful, man. Okay.
Okay, there's one snipe.
Oh, this takes out one medevac. Now, Biel is doing like an immaculate job of pushing the creep here. If we can just point this out for a second.
Yeah.
He's going to have that creep pretty close. I'm actually also surprised Biel hasn't taken out that one Widow Mine. I know he knows that it's there.
Now, without air units, and even with the Queen range, this is going to be difficult to defend, this Liberator here.
The Spore is pretty well placed.
But this is like a much larger range with this upgrade done.
Yeah, no, it's kind of crazy. Here we go.
Like, he can't hit this, I don't think.
Yeah.
Okay, no, he barely does.
The thing is, with the transfuses here, right? I mean,
he just eventually kills this. Yeah.
It kind of makes the upgrade obsolete. Now.
But now he can't hit the drone line, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, so he's going to try to inch in here.
He's reactoring out Liberators to try to zone.
Okay, now that I think hits one patch, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it gets that one patch right there. It's almost mined out. Although it seems like it doesn't always hit it. It seems like it's actually at the angle that the drone is kind of turned.
I think it might also be a vision issue. I don't know.
I'm actually not sure. Well,
look at him. He's like going to move it like a little bit closer. Weapon there. I don't even know. I think a Widow Mine died, or hopefully it wasn't a medevac. Something died there. This is the focal point of this game and the upgrade. And he got a fusion core for this, and he got one kill.
So
tasteless, one kill.
This is the problem, guys, is that if you don't do a lot of damage, if you go out of your way and get these upgrades and get these units and you don't do a ton, you're really just not in great shape. You could have played a more normal game and you would have been fine, and I don't actually think there's enough over here to help defend this.
This is just pure Zergling. He has 1-1 upgrade. Speed does not. Bringing more Marines back. And this is a bad angle for Biel, in fact. I'm surprised he's really committing to this. He kills 10 SCVs.
No, I think it's fine. I mean, he's already killed enough workers, and
I guess never mind.
Lings alone. I mean, think about how many units Terran was losing in this game.
I guess it's just. I guess he just like wins the game with this.
All right.
With pure Lings and no
This looks
banglings.
like a loss in Brood War or something. He's like, oh wow, Sweetlings. These are really good. Well, those Lings, they got a lot of kills. 13 workers are killed up there. Now, Speed is attempting to set up and do a ton of damage over here. And it seems like it's starting to work. He's got 6 drone kills so far.
This is such a weird game.
It really is, man.
He stabilizes off of this. Like, the problem is all the Marines died, so he can't put any more direct pressure on, but I guess he's still finding pressure with his Liberators. So, like, 9 drones died. I was scared for him there that if he lost all of his Marines, he wouldn't be able to counter pressure any further, but he's still finding drone kills here.
Oh
he needs to be careful with this. These are slow banelings. Yeah, if he actually left Liberators at home, like 1 or 2, like the defense of this base would be a little bit easier.
Yeah, a little bit, but I think the Liberators are not going to kill this stuff that fast, right? And even though, yes, these are slow Banes, it's like they can still just run up here and take out, for instance, the depot there. Nicely done. And that's going to trigger the rest of this stuff to just spill in here.
Yeah.
I think that's actually game. This is like not what TVZ is supposed to look like.
Yeah.
But Biel knows how to win in whatever situation. At least it seems that.
Bane speed's done now, Tasteless. I think he can't run away forever.
That's right.
He's trying to rally out more units. He's starting to, too. He thinks he's going to hold this. But
and he's actually going to get mutas behind this, by the way, which is pretty cute.
It's going to help deal with the Liberators. That no longer is going to be an issue.
Liberators will be knocked out of relevancy in this game.
Okay.
Oh! He's like trying to run here.
That one SCV has a birthday
Just
cake.
Keep the cake. Keep the cake alive. This Baneling wants our cake.
Oh. Well, I guess GG. There you go. That was not how this game is played at the highest level, but we saw some experimentation there.
That was kind of funny, right? Like, you know, he was losing enough with the drops that I guess you can actually just do that, right? I mean, if you've gone for Liberators, they didn't do that much damage, and then you killed off some Medevacs and some Widow Mines and Marines on the map, I guess you can just send Speedlings in there, right?
Yeah.
Even though the Marines were at a good angle, they were like hugging the minerals with SCVs around them. It still just kills everything.
They were low, like he was way outnumbered, and also he was down in upgrades. Biel had 1-1,
right,
and he did not, so that was another issue. I feel like if he could combine that pressure with the Liberators with the drops and not lose them, like if his multitasking was a little bit better, I could see why this build could work like on the ladder, like at GM level, but not at pro level. So it's like I want to give him credit because I think the idea I can kind of like mesh it out of my head, but we don't see this in competitive play, which is why it's not standard and why probably it did not work in this last game.
Yeah, it seems like the idea is cool, but I mean, if you don't do damage with it, what are you going to do, right? You've invested in something that didn't pay for itself, or ideally more. Okay, winning game number 1, our Zerg player, one of the best Zerg players from Heart of the Swarm.
CJ enters. Byo.
Byo.
Means star in Korean.
In the bottom right, in the red.
Speed.
Speed, don't go for the liver, speed!
Don't do it!
They shoot far, but you are not fast enough!
I mean, I don't think he should do that again. I really don't. I think that was like, you know, I mean, there's all sorts of cool strats that I'm sure you guys have experienced that you can do on lower levels of play.
Sure, and even, there's like a huge difference between like mid-tier GM on Korea versus a Code S level player. There's there's just a difference there.
Yeah, there just is a difference. Or, you know, some of the stuff you could get away with on like the NA ladder. Shots fired at the NA server. Sorry, guys. But I mean, it's true. And, you know, some of them, that's cool. It works out. People have a hard time dealing with it. But when you get to this level, right, we got the 32 best players in the world. Some things are just not safe to try out.
Yeah,
because these guys are so good at what they're doing.
Just to continue on this point, because I think there's a lot of misconception about this. If you are top 16 GM, does that mean you're top 16 players in the world because Korea ladder is the hardest? No. Because some of the Kessa players just play custom games.
Yeah, some of the custom players don't actually ladder. So
because they hit, you know, sometimes there's a hacker or, you know, they hit like lower level players and like they're not getting practice against the best in the world.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, it can also just be really good practice to just play against a handful of other people who are so good versus, you know, I mean, there's a good amount of top tier amateur players who are like really solid in school, but they're not.
You can also, when you play against someone who's in your team, which is why being teamless is somewhat of a weakness, right? When you play against someone on your team, you can tell them, all right, I want you to do I just blindly counter my build, and I want to see if I can still make this build work. And you can do that 5 times, so you're like, okay, so even if he blindly counters me, if he has the better build, I can figure out how to play against that.
Right.
But if you hit someone on the ladder, you can't just be like, all right, I want you to do this build. That's not good practice. Like, you just kind of do a blind match.
Like, laddering's pretty interesting because, you know, with laddering, it's like you get a lot of exposure to kind of everything, you know, which in a lot of cases, you know, you might not have seen a strategy if you're only playing with certain people. But at the same time, you put 10 guys living together in a house who are all top tier, make them play against each other to try to figure stuff out.
Both are valuable, but I think that the team house practice for a specific group and a specific matchup is always going to be more valuable.
Yeah, I basically agree.
You can't even choose what matchup you're going to play when you queue up. If you're practicing, if you've got a TVZ match coming up, like Speed does right now, and he ladders, he might hit 8 TVPs in a row, and he's like, oh, I'm just not getting good practice now. You know?
Can I say that, like, I was so happy, like, right when StarCraft 2 came out, how good the matchmaking was. The fact that at any moment you can hit a button, and within about 20 seconds, immediately have a game against somebody. Now, for me, because I'm like a dinosaur as far as esports goes, I mean, on Brood War we had to like spam to try
you
to
had to
find
copy
paste.
1v1 fighting spirit, D, go.
Yeah, D, go.
You spam it 4 times, I was like, shut up.
In the game, the guy'd be like, I'm not playing Protoss. And I'm like, oh, seriously, man? There's only like 3 of us in this chat room right now. Are we just not going to play StarCraft tonight? It's like, I'm only playing against Terran. So, I mean, just to have that,
yeah,
that's something you really got to appreciate.
Oh, nice catch. Mid-air kill on that Reaper.
Yeah, the Ling actually grabbed him by his foot and was like, get down here.
Well, this is interesting. We're going to see a tank-a-back push, which is very effective on this map. This is really popular at the beginning. Players like Keen were doing this and finding success. Alive as well. Even Bomber doing a little bit of play like this at the very beginning. Some of the macro players like Innovation, not so much, but like players that are used to doing pushes like this and getting ahead like this would do builds like this. It looks like Biel scouts this early, and this is still like an annoying thing. Like he's going to kill Lings with it, but he's looking for more real damage on drones.
Yeah,
and that's what his target is here.
At the bare minimum, he might try to like shoot down some tumors, but ideally you want to get some drones here.
And this is because of the Queen range buff. Less effective than it ever was before right now, specifically.
I thought that was a good buff for Zerg, because initially I think Terrans could really pick on the Zergs, and the Zergs are just kind of having to try to defend everything.
Yeah, I think so. Like, I'm still not 100% sold, but the more I see it, I'm like, well, this is not too tough for the Terrans with the current patch either. We're going to see a drop used with Queens. This is basically how it was countered in the past as well, and it just easily pushes it away. This is not possible in Heart of the Swarm on either count because Overlords couldn't, individually morph and tanks couldn't be picked up like this. But Speed is, it's not like he's losing out because he committed to a siege tank early. He's just not getting the damage he wanted. But he's still okay. He's got +1 on the way back at home. He's got Stim coming up, and he won't lose this, barring a huge mistake. He's going to get out of here. But he can't really do this anymore because he's going to end up losing that drop if he tries even one more time, I'd say.
We haven't seen Terrans doing this as much lately, but it's kind of interesting to see Speed do this. Now, I wonder if that's because Speed doesn't really get to stay as up-to-date with the meta. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because he's teamless right now. So, I don't know,
if you hit rank 62 GM Zerg barcode on the ladder, this might work some of the time, but against Biel, it's like, this just isn't going to work.
Yeah, that's what my attitude is like, and this is why it's like, there's actually a great quote that Guillaume Petrie, who's, you guys might know him better as Gur, but he was interviewed. Well, hold on, I'll say that in a second. I'll drop
Stem
that.
is done right when this hits. This actually, the timing works out really well. There's only a Queen here to defend. Looks like Bill did not expect a bio follow-up, and he's going to lose a gas here and possibly more drones. Look at that, another drone gets taken out here. This is some effective damage here for Speed, and he should be able to escape no problem. Very well done here.
Let's see how much damage he does over here in the main.
Mutas are out, so maybe he won't be able to get that escape I was talking about.
Yeah, he's
nice micro with a Muta, just a little bit too slow there.
Yep. Now, because he's going to clean this up, this is actually quite problematic here. If you lose the medevacs and when you're dropping, you're not going to have as strong of a push later on.
This Spore makes this so much tougher to execute. In fact, only a few Zerglings go down, maybe like 6 in total.
Okay, so, I mean, Speed is just not trading effectively, and he's going to end up getting this last medevac. Look at this.
But Tasteless, I want you to tell me that Guillaume quote, because I don't know if I know it. I'm actually really curious.
Okay, so he was interviewed on this TV show. By the way, guys, Guillaume was the first best StarCraft player. It actually wasn't Slayer's Boxer, and he was actually Canadian, white dude. He was like #1 in the world, and that's the last time that ever happened. In case you're wondering, or it wasn't a Korean guy who was the best. But
it was like in 2001 too. It was like a long time ago.
It was a very long time ago. So it was like 15 years ago. But anyways, they interviewed him and they asked him, like, because he says, I practice every day. And they said, well, how, do you basically just win every game in practice? And he goes, no, I actually probably lose about half the time. And they were saying, well, how are you ranked #1 in the world if you're still losing half the time? He says, if I wasn't losing half the time or more in practice, I wouldn't be playing with the right people. I mean, and it's true.
If you're not losing, you're not learning.
Yeah. I mean, this is, I think, a big psychological error a lot of people make when they're trying to get good, is that they will avoid playing someone who beats them too often because they don't like. I mean, nobody likes the feeling of losing, right? But the truth is, I mean, whenever you're practicing or training for anything, if you're not getting your ass kicked a good amount, that means you probably are not actually challenging yourself. By the way, nice Baneling drop here.
9 kills with this one.
Not fast enough, no pun intended there. Takes out a few workers with that. Very nicely done. But yeah, I mean, if you guys are trying to get better, frankly, not just in StarCraft, but in any game, you should be playing against people that you're losing to.
Yeah, there's a balance
more
there.
Or as
like,
much.
You need to make sure you can keep your psychology healthy. If you lose like every game, then you might give up.
That is true as well. Yeah.
But I think that there's definitely a balance to be had. Now, this is the first scary moment for Bill since the siege tank came out, where he has to defend this push, but he has decent creep spread and Baneling speed. So, I mean, I think that he should be fine. He's already slowed this down. Look at how many Marines have already died. He's got another drop set up here as well, potentially a run by.
Look at this. I don't know if Speed's paying attention.
Okay, this time he was.
Oh, and actually it was Biel who was not paying attention here. Okay, not bad. Not bad at all.
Okay.
Keeping the Terran honest here.
Let's see what happens next with this push. The mutas are away. In fact, just going to lose these slowly. This is actually probably the best case scenario for Speed. He's buying a lot more time with this.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have enough units to push in here yet. And he actually gives up the point. He walks away.
Okay, the Liberators are going to come out here. They might actually try to fight these mutas up here at the top. Zerg is just like the last game. Biel's just doing a really good job of spreading the creep here. It's pretty impressive.
Here come the Banelings. He had Widow Mines ready, but they weren't bird, but it doesn't matter because it dies anyways.
That's unfortunate because he didn't get the drop off there.
Yeah.
you know, I mean, it's always good, even if those banelings like hit a turret or something. That's worth it, right?
Yeah, any damage is damage. He's actually getting supply blocked here, and these liberators come in, and these Ritas are useless now. And now we can actually siege up half the liberators and leave the other ones to defend, I'd say. He's actually just going to siege up one, and there's nothing here. The Spore is being repositioned. It burrows faster on this patch, but now the Overlord Depot over here is starting to get blown up, man.
This is actually kind of crazy. If he
like,
can
Bill's already supply blocked once.
If he can actually get the Overlords, we don't really see it as much in professional StarCraft, but, you know, you can get to a point where you've lost too many Overlords, it snowballs.
Yeah, and the game just ends.
Is that going to be this kind of game this time around? Let's actually see about that.
Speed is really out multitasking Biel right now. Biel's having trouble defending all of this harassment from different locations. Okay, half this army is just going to get obliterated. The other half should probably tail it and run. He's still on creep. Okay, reinforcements coming down, though. A lot of queens coming from behind.
So many banelings actually coming out here. And
Good connects.
Yeah, I think actually he can just 1A this. He might want to back up with the banelings. They're not on creep, so the stutter step micro is going to be pretty strong.
Yeah, he's got a few marauders in this army as well. Looks like finally he will back off. That was a scary moment there for Biel. I don't know what ended up happening to the rest of the Liberators. It looks like they were cleaned off the map by Queens and the remainder of the Mutalists. So that's annoying because he doesn't have that force anymore. And Ultras are out on the map. They're going to have +2, +3 soon. The Adrenal Glands upgrade will finish for the Zerglings. And Speed needs to just kind of continue to keep Biel honest. You know, keep him on the defensive. And, you know, kind of keep attacking multiple locations like this. This is what I'm talking about.
Problem is, I just don't know. I mean, Speed's not actually breaking the Zerg. You know what I mean?
He was so close to, but
yeah,
he's finding more damage. Like, Biel is pretty low on Harvesters compared to where he'd like to be.
One lone Muta. That's Muttosis, the hero Muta.
Baneling hits here, or rather the Widowmine hits here, are pretty decent, but he still just does not have enough to fight this until he goes super deep off creep.
Now, Biel needs to be careful not to overextend here. There's nothing that necessitates he goes this far off creep to fight. You definitely want to be respecting your opponent here, you know? And now we see these queens are going to get hit.
Okay, they're going to try to transfuse the buy time for the Ultra to come over, even off creep. The Ultras can fight this army really well, but great targeting here from Speed.
That was really good by Speed, and that was really reckless by Biel, to be honest. We're going to see a lot more queens made here. He needs those transfuses to combo with the Ultras.
Yeah.
Now, Zerg is also, I almost missed this, but Zerg is actually taking a 5th base in the center. I don't
taken out, though.
I think Speed is actually unaware of this.
Okay, he knows now. He sees the creepy
he says, wait
scans.
a minute, yeah.
This is actually a really critical moment. If he killed it, it would have been huge. He decides not to take the risk because he might have gotten caught if he did. He's going to take his own extra base. Speed is actually like making the choice to go toe-to-toe in a late-game macro game versus Biel.
This is kind of interesting as well because it's hard for these guys to know where the other player's macro is at. Like in this case, they're actually completely even in supply. But you don't know that, right? If you've had this many exchanges back and forth, you're kind of in the dark because you don't know if your opponent's macroing perfectly or, you know, and it's also hard to calculate, you know, every single engagement you had, did you trade effectively?
Oh, huge hit there. 18 kills. Whoa, that's a big amount of value. The Widowmine doesn't even die for it, so Biel is actually, I mean, you see these small mistakes like this. This is going to happen to any top pro gamer in a match this stressful, but I mean, I feel like Speed is kind of outdoing him with the multitasking in a lot of ways in this game, which is kind of surprising. Look at the army side. Like, Speed is going to overwhelm him soon if he is not careful. Like, he's up 30 army supplies and to kill the Spire. That means no more Ruler transition later on if the game gets to that point, which based on the fact that Speed is taking a 5th base here, I think we are going to see that late game.
Well, I think the big question is Speed's 4th base. Is Speed going to be able to take this place? You know, you see where the Zerg's taking the 5th? Okay, right here.
Yeah.
Can Speed hold this? Because that's not that hard for Ultras to push. Like, let's say you took, like, the far right expansion as Terran. Ultras are going to have a harder time getting over there, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, with this, I feel like there is a chance that Biel could actually shove out here.
Ooh, he does not want to fight here, though, under the Liberation Zones. He's just going to have to let this base go.
Yep.
He's going to counterattack instead. I like this choice. He can stop this 4th base from going up. Forcing a lift here. The Corruptors can actually kill that, but he needs to be careful. He's going to back off. And he could have maybe perhaps split the Corruptors trying to kill the base, but this is the safer choice.
No, this is wise, and I don't know if Terran's actually going to pursue.
Ooh, this is actually scary here for Biel.
Oh, Speed's going to get surrounded here.
He has no medevacs. And here they come, but a little bit too late. This actually might be too much damage done. They didn't realize he had no medevacs nearby, and now they're all going to die.
If you look at the supplies too, it's 10. Actually, it's now below 100 to 156.
Yeah, that happened in like 3 seconds time. That huge jump. Now he has not enough answer for these ultras, I would say. One gets targeted down. He is kiting well. This is not a planetary yet. Some shaky moments here for Biel in this game, but it looks like at the very end of things, that one fight he took where the medevacs were not there to support, the surround was good. GG.
Look, I think Speed did a good job back there, but this is Biel you're up against, and I think especially in game one, it kind of highlights why there are some strategies that you see out there that we don't see in Code S, and that's because they're not optimal strats.
Yeah.
They're not the very, very best strats in the world. When you got somebody who basically doesn't miss anything, has perfect APM, is psychologically conditioned to play very well under pressure with the world watching, that's when you're not gonna win like that.
Yeah. Biel's been on multiple pro gaming teams. He's
Right.
been in so many televised matches. He has so much experience. Speed is not out of this yet. He has one more shot against Patience in that losers match, see if he can make it the final one, but not the best start for him here in this group.
No, not at all. Coming up next, we are going to have Biel versus Deer for the winner's match to see who will get out into one of those final two spots in tonight's GSL Code S. Stay tuned.
그대로 맑고 깨끗하게 피어나라고 겨울을 이겨낸 봄꽃이 내게 말했다. 맑고 깨끗한 칠성사이다.
짬뽕이네.
와, 맛있는 거.
근데 어디서 시킨 거예요? 그거 시킨 거 아닌디. 어떻게 볶음 진짬뽕인디. 어떻게 볶음 진짬뽕. 볶음 뜬 땀뽕. 볶음 뜬 땀뽕.
와, 정말로 화끈하네.
볶음 진짬뽕 외에는 절대 현혹되지 마소.
질서와 수호를 위해서라면
마계의 화염이.
누구도 나를 막을 순 없어. 방해하겠다면 전부 부숴주지.
나는 KT 기가 인터넷. 당신과 끊김없이 게임을 즐기죠. 어디서나 우린 함께해요. 어때요? 나랑 콜라보 하실래요? 당신의 KT.
2016 리우 올림픽을 기념한 라틴의 맛 탄생. 할라피뇨와 화끈한 치폴레 살사 소스까지. 올림픽 공식 버거 맥도날드 리우 195 버거. 다양한 라틴의 맛도 만나보세요.
메이플 스토리 2 신규 직업 스트라이커.
이거 좋은데?
답답할 때 마셔봐요 트로피카나 상큼상큼 과일 듬뿍 스파클링
리얼 프루트를 스파클링으로
과즙이 톡톡 쏜다 트로피카나 스파클링.
메신저의 혁신이다. 이런 실시간 라이브 움짤 기능은 지금 스노우앱에서밖에 없죠. 굉장히 많은 팬분들이 영상 메시지와 메신저를 보내주고 계십니다. 아프리카 원탑 역캠답게 이설이라고 메시지가 왔는데 길 가다 만나지 마라. 길 가다 만나지 마라고. 느낌 있죠? 리본 하나 찬 다음에 딸랑딸랑 고양이 섹시합니다. 외쳐 스노우. 라마.
스타일? 상쾌하면 되는 거야.
상쾌함의 높이가 다르다. Stylish Sparkling Water 롯데 트래비.
네, 아프리카 TV와 함께하는 킹덤 스토리 연애의 신.
이거 사극을 찍는 것 같아요.
정말 안 어울립니다. 약간 왜소하고.
맞아. 위초고 3국 대결.
장비! 나이스!
나 심쿵했어.
17,800원. 와, 군주는 무릎을 꿇을 수 있어요. 아, 뭐야 이거 어떻게 먹은 건데? 저에게는 간호 장비 같은 존재입니다.
진짜 유익한 게임이니까 여러분들 진짜로 많이 해보셨으면 좋겠습니다.
기가 IoT 헬스. 올레 TV 켜고 퍼팅하고 바이크 타고 체지방 체크까지 실감나게 재밌다. 기가 IoT 헬스. 김지원의 KT.
오호, 물로 지금 거의 뭐 수분을 그냥 갖다 들이붓는 것 같아요. 자, 바른 쪽과 안 바른 쪽입니다. 차이 보여드릴게요. 내가 발라봤는데 대편. 앞으로 그냥 나도 찍어 발라야 될 것 같아요. 잘 봐요. 자, 이렇게 깔끔하게 아래쪽만 다듬어도 선이 딱 살아있잖아요. 선 라인 자체가. 잠깐만. 이런 느낌이구나. 허허. 오늘 여러 가지 제품들 올리브영에서 제가 지금 제품을 받아서 사용을 해봤는데 굉장히 좋은 것 같아요. 올리브영 제품이 짱인 것 같습니다. 고맙습니다.
올리브영 플러스 유소나 예뻐져라 뷰티 방송. 홈쇼핑 아닙니다. 첫 뷰티 방송 시작하겠습니다. 달콤한 꽃에 겹겹이 둘러싸인 듯. 여러분, 이 모든 제품들은 올리브영에서 살 수 있습니다. 새로운 네일 아트로 사랑을 표현할게요. 감사합니다. 고맙습니다. 세상에.
KT와 아프리카TV가 함께하는 기가 콜라보 페스티벌. 강렬한 태양 아래 해운대 백사장에서 펼쳐지는 국내 최대 기가급 페스티벌. 기가 인터넷의 속도로 즐기는 e스포츠의 축제. 아프리카TV 인기 BJ가 총출동하는 KT 기가 레전드 매치 오버워치 BJ 리그. e스포츠의 성지 부산에서 펼쳐지는 KT 기가 레전드 매치. 폭풍저그 홍진호, 최종 경기 테란 이영호, 몽상과 프로토스 강민, 혁명과 프로토스 김태경. 다시 만나는 전술 속의 스타크래프트 영웅들 KT 기가 레전드 매치. 아프리카TV 인기 DJ들의 축하 공연까지 즐길 수 있는 올여름 최고의 기가급 페스티벌. KT와 아프리카TV가 함께하는 기가 콜라보 페스티벌에 여러분을 초대합니다.
미소가 생기다. 화사함이 생기다. 건강한 하루가 생기다.
pH 8.0과 풍부한 미네랄로 핑크빛 생기가 생기다. 아이시스 8.0.
이제 모두 핑크하세요.
(2016) Hot 6 GSL Season 2 Code S.
What's up? We're back at the GSL Code S. Only 2 spots remaining here, and it's going to come down to either Biel or Deer. I think this should be a pretty close match, Wolf.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. I do feel like Patience is still one of the favorites to get out of the group. We'll see if Biel can upset here and take Deer out, because doing so would be, would secure us our 3rd Zerg in the round of 16.
Zergs, please! The fate of Zerg is on the line. How will they fare?
Biel is very famous here at the Africa Studios because when he lost that finals, he gave a speech to his family and all of his fans where he actually teared up. And he was so emotional that even Guri, who was interviewing him, cried a little bit. He's very famous for that finals in particular here in Korea where he just couldn't quite make it. Then right afterwards, I think just a few days later, he lost the SSL finals. He wants a title. He's been so close twice in Korea. He won a title in America. But Deer is already a champion, and I think he is by far the favorite. We'll see.
That's my attitude exactly, Wolf, is that, Biel, I'm kind of rooting for him. But at the same time, I just think that Deer is probably a better player. And let me tell you something, guys. If you say to Deer, well, what about the Zergs in GSL Code S? He'll look at you and go, I don't care. I need to move on to the finals. He can do that after I've already secured my spot.
Yeah. Deer is going to go ahead and ban both Rex here in Judgment again, so eliminating those GSL exclusive maps. So we keep seeing these same maps actually over and over again. Sometimes Frost gets switched out with Frozen Temple. This will be a good one. Starting things off on New Gettysburg, though, we've seen a lot of really cool Hydra bailing pushes on this map. We'll see if Deer can stop that.
All right, guys, let's get ready. Not many spots remaining, a lot on the line. This is this year's last season of the GSL Code S. We'll be back, of course, in 2017, but these guys, they've trained so hard. StarCraft is their life. And now it's all going to come down to this match. So whatever they think is the best builds in the matchup, we're going to see it right here, right now. Starting out with game 1 on the map, New Gettysburg. Over here in the blue, our Zerg player, he is
CJ enters. 뼈.
And his opponent down here in the red, our Protoss player.
Samsung Galaxy. Deer.
That pose on his face. I love it.
Yeah.
That's like, that is everything Deer is to me outside the game summed up in one pose there. He's so smug in his interviews.
So we got the gateway coming down here with a gas build from Protoss. Zerg's going to go ahead and take that hatchery. Now, we've pointed this out a lot on this map, but I think you kind of got to say it every time. And I know we have new people that come into StarCraft, too, are curious. So, look, this map is really quite different. There is this long bridge, super long and super narrow, that connects the bottom part of the map. So a lot of times we'll see people try to push through that. But if you stand outside where that bridge ends, you can usually have a good surround. It's almost impossible to move an army through there. There's also 2 islands on this map. 2 islands that actually have blockers by air. So there's like walls where medevacs and things like that. Well, I guess we won't see that in this game, but anything else flying
A warp prism
can't get around
even.
there. Warp prism.
A drop overlord.
Right. And we've been trying to get island maps to be more used, or I should say islands on maps more used in StarCraft 2. But one of the things about StarCraft 2 is like there are so many ways that you can just get a ton of units from from one location onto an island at once. It was a lot trickier to do that in Brood War, which made islands a lot more viable because you could fight these like little tiny fights over an island, and actually it became pretty important.
I think in StarCraft 2, one of the reasons why the islands never became popular is because the game was balanced around maps that didn't have islands because they were never really in the pool.
That's true.
Like Lost Temple and Scrap Station both had an island, but they were not used very often, only in niche situations. Kind of like this map. This island's still not really used yet. There were like a few maps that were there were barely any maps that were island maps in the game. There was one called like Orbital Debris Field or something that like Blizzard made, but they were never in the ladder pool, so balance designers never really looked at it. Then later people were like, okay, the game isn't balanced around ground-based maps, so I don't know. But now we have like new maps that are trying it. Arena, this map.
This is what you got to do in RTS, guys. And that's what makes, any game where you can have a map really exciting. It's not like, we're not like on Pong, right? There's not like different levels in Pong, at least as far as I know. You have a situation where they can actually just come out and change a map and add some new features, and suddenly we have a totally different looking game.
Yeah, if every map was different than what we expect now, like imagine if every map didn't have a ramp to the natural, we would play a different game. Like the entire game would look differently.
And that's why, and here's a problem, because this kind of irks me when a lot of people are like, I don't like this map, it's stupid, I can't believe we're even using it. It's like, dude, this is exactly how you keep a game healthy.
Yeah. I can't do the same build I do on every map every time. I'm like, okay, well, that's an issue.
Well, I'm sorry that you don't want to learn more about how your race can work in different maps, man. But, for the sake of competition, you have to put out these new crazy maps that can make for some really interesting games that really force people to think outside the box. I remember, because, when I started playing, everybody was just doing one map. I'm talking about all the way back in Brood War. It was just Lost Temple, right?
Yeah.
And I remember when I suddenly got introduced to other maps, and it was like I was so out of my comfort zone, like it freaked me out so much because I just suddenly realized, oh my God, there's like a totally different build I have to do here. I can't just follow this stuff I have in rote memory.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely an interesting facet of how this RTS works, and how even like another Blizzard game, Heroes of the Storm, works compared to other MOBAs. You have to play differently. Different heroes are strong in different maps.
Yeah. By the way, I got to say, I think that is one of the most well-designed games I've ever seen, is Heroes of the Storm. I mean, I think they really, because I would always watch, and I think the other MOBAs are good too, guys, but I would always watch these games and be like, there's seriously still just one map?
Yeah.
Like, doesn't this, I mean, is
Dota 2, like even in Dota 2, the map is the same.
Yeah,
like,
it's the same thing. I don't think, but even if you had a map that looks somewhat similar, but like you moved the shops around or something, I mean, I know that people love these games, but to some extent, I just think, don't you just want to have like, what if we change something and then the game looks totally different, and then it's like we end up with this whole new way of learning stuff?
Sure. I mean,
and I think with Heroes they did a really good job of that, and kind of stepped up, that whole genre of game into something completely new.
Yeah. I mean, in traditional sports, you don't like play like on a different, like a pentagon-shaped baseball field instead of a diamond sometimes, but like I think esports is different.
Well,
Let's
yeah,
see
I
this
mean,
attack over here. Like, see how much damage this gets done.
Yeah, that's actually what makes esports so cool. Is we can change the game, we can change the rules, we can change the maps, and really just see, kind of take the game to a new level. You know.
Yeah. I like our discussion we're having, but I don't want to point out this is forced a drone pull. He only killed a few harvesters here, but this has actually done so much more than just worker kills, and most of the units will shade again.
Oh
now
my
he's forced
God.
those units away. These queens over here, there's only one, means that he finds a few more damage drones here. 8 kills in total, the pull as well. And Deer finds himself now ahead in harvesters. And the Hydralisk Den and the Baneling Nest that are coming out right now to do that follow-up push I was talking about earlier, with a weakened economy, this just simply will not be as effective as he wanted it to be originally. It just simply can't be. And he's already getting the Bay tech, which will help with that quite a bit. This is one of the reasons why the air blockers are important. Looks like he's trying to set up a drop with those Zerglings, but the pathing there with the overlords have to send it a different
It's
way.
actually kind of funny because most of the time the pathing's like so good in StarCraft 2, but I guess the air units haven't quite gotten used to. Okay, see, finally.
I think it's because of his shift queuing. He tried to shift queue it in a funny way, probably off the mini map, but it's all going to work out here in the end for Biel. But it's just kind of a funny thing.
Okay, so it looks like he wants to do a Baneling drop, probably over here on
Looks
top
like
of
2.
these probes. And well, look, I mean, this is great. Zergs have been doing this a lot, and I think it's like totally worth it. If you can just wipe out some probes early on, that's never going to hurt.
It's funny the vision denial here too as well, because these two kind of just pass each other in the night as it is with this wall. Otherwise, he would have definitely seen the Overlord, but because of the wall, he simply does not. Okay, now he gets scouted by this second Overlord. More drone damage being done here as he actually scouts the Lurker Den. And I think Lurkers are the way to go. You're not going to hit that Baneling timing otherwise. But here comes the drop. Let's see if the Baneling drops go off at the same time. Biel, you can see he's grimacing on the camera here as he tries to defend this. Okay, here come the Banelings. He's already scouted.
Go! Oh my God!
Not
he
a
didn't
single
even get him
drops out.
Deer is kicking ass right now.
15 kills.
16.
This one's too late. He didn't time it with the other one. This is so much damage. This might just be game-ending damage. 1-4 depth drop while he was looking elsewhere. And Oracles are finding damage over here. Looks like he finally lost one. Such good micro here by Deer.
Yeah, it gets in there and zaps those workers. Deer, I mean, it's almost like our observers having a hard time keeping up. Either.
Yeah. It is going to be
25.
Colossus tech here, by the way, which is pretty rare.
25 kills. How crazy is that?
That is insanely crazy. You normally want to time out the 2 Baneling drops at the same time so he can't be both places at once, but because he's come one by one, he might actually still defend this one. His units are nearby. So this is going to hit him, not really by, it was very unlikely this will hit him by surprise.
So he's going to hit with these links here, and then he'll do the drop at the same time.
Yep, here it comes.
Or not. Okay, there it is, yeah.
A bit late. Well, there's no units this time. Let's see if he reacts. He's not looking.
Here we go.
There's the damage. He was looking at the warp, and they did very nearby. We'll kill the empty Overlord. But not the significant. I like
I love
this.
that there's an Overlord right-clicked on that Warp Prism. That's so smart.
But Tazos, can he defend the Colossus push? He's going to have Thermal Lance here in just a second.
That I think is the big question, Wolf, is like, you know, is he actually going to be okay facing this on head-to-head? I don't know if Lurkers are going to be that helpful against Colossi.
Not in a small number like this versus all these Stalkers that can fan out. He has an Observer. That's critical. If he could snipe the Observer, we might have a different story here.
Yeah, but I think if he hits the Observer, then Protoss just kind of moves around the Lurkers.
Okay, here we go. Backs off. Even if he loses the Observer, the splash damage can still kill the Lurkers, so it's not like a necessarily means he loses the fight, but it would be huge.
Zerg's going to go for a counterattack here, but I'm not sure, man. I mean, I feel like Protoss' army is just going to be better. And frankly, I think a Warpin back at home will take out these Mutas and the Lings. I mean, they're not that
He
threatening.
has a full energy Mothership Core, nearly full energy here as
That's
well.
true.
Losing the core would mean no more Stalker Warpins, though, and that's a great target here by Biel. But this is just so much damage being done. The Observer is well placed at the back, by the way. Really well done, so he didn't fly them to
my
spores.
God, he's going to go for the pylon. Or not. Thought he for sure he was going to go for that pylon because that would unpower all those gateways.
I think he's just having trouble multitasking with everything that's going on, you know. And because he doesn't unpower those gateways, more Warpins coming at home. He's making 4 cannons. He's just going to mass cannons with all the money he has so that he can't die. And this Mutalist army will never beat this army head on. He's massing them up at his 3rd base instead of this base, so he's going to lose some probes here. And it's always difficult for the Protoss to win a base trade versus Mutas. That's like kind of the rule of this matchup. And these cannons are not ready yet. But the overcharges will buy him some time. I think he kills all these cannons, Taste. It's like, the core isn't done. Look, just 2 will finish, it looks like. And he backs off.
He needs to get another Mothership Core here. But this Muta Death Ball is actually pretty scary. So it's 37 drones to 20 probes. Now, if Zerg can actually take this out,
Yeah, just commit to
then
the cannons.
I don't think he can actually make a Nexus.
Oh, see, islands. Hello, there we go.
Looky.
Protoss has a warp prism, but he needs to keep that alive. Otherwise, there is no way to access this base.
There's only 8 probes on the map. Now, what Protoss can do is make a Nexus, assuming that he can get a probe somewhere, and just put this over here. So
he knows this is happening, I think. I think he's saying those zealots drop into the prism.
Does Biel actually win this? This is so interesting.
Well, mutas are hard to base trade against, as we said before. Okay, he's got 31 drones left. The majority of them are here, but a few of them did get onto the island.
Okay, so wait, there's literally no probes in the game.
Yeah,
There
he
are
can't make
no
more
probes.
buildings. He needs to kill this base of the warp prism. I don't know if he knows about it.
No,
I don't think he knows.
Okay, so he might be assuming that Zerg is actually in the top right.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And I think that's where he's going. He's saying, okay, wait a minute.
These islands will win him the game if he doesn't go defend his Nexus right now and then figure out what's going on.
You know, Deer is thinking, oh no, wait a minute, what is going on here? Now we don't see the warp prism over here just yet.
I think he's just going to lose all his buildings if he doesn't come over. He has to go back to his base and defend.
Yeah.
Like, if he doesn't know, then he can't just guess and try to find the hatcheries.
Well,
he has to go home and defend.
The thing is, he can't make probes. He doesn't have any more Nexuses. He's supply blocked. So Protoss is actually
He's kind of checkmated here if he can't find this base, and he's just not.
I think he knows now. I think he says, oh my god, he has the island. Oh my god. Protoss is going back.
He doesn't have enough anti-air to kill the island either.
In theory, yeah, that's right.
Like, he can only bring stalkers over 4 at a time. So the mutas would just kill that and kill the prism, and then Biel cannot be defeated.
Exactly. Now Biel, I think it knows, this is like a little bit risky, but yeah, there's no way if Zerg is diligent, there's no way that the Warp Prism can get in there and do what it needs to do, which means that Zerg actually just wins, I think, by default
I think no matter what, like, it's almost like the best case scenario for Deer is a tie where the Mulus can't kill it, but I think eventually Biel should be able to get enough units. This is going to slow this down a little bit.
Yeah, but this doesn't really matter because as long as he's mining from here, he will eventually, in theory, have enough.
Using the Drop Overlord to defend those two.
Yeah, it's pretty funny, isn't it?
He has enough to make a new hatchery, but this means no more drops if he loses this. That is basically killing the king in chess.
Protoss cannot win this game now. Look at this.
It is.
Goodbye.
He has the only other unit that can reach and attack this base is the Oracle. Stalkers can't blink across because of the wall.
They can, right?
I don't think so. We've never seen it. I'm pretty sure we'd see the islands more often if they could. But
that did not even occur to me.
I don't think that's ever a thing that can happen. This army's going to get surrounded and killed.
He can't blink in there, right?
No, there's no way. Like, otherwise we'd see this island map taken all the time. This dies here. Deer cannot win this game. He could try to slow it down and delay it, but he has no probes, and he cannot make probes. So he cannot make buildings, whereas eventually Biel will get his tech back up.
Yep.
It'll take a long time, but it will happen.
I think that Deer just realized.
Oh, this is how we could tie the game. Potentially, maybe.
Well, now the mutas fly away. Now, let's see. He can't blink in, right?
So eventually he gets another Spire. He makes more mutas, and
that's it. That's the game.
Yeah. Like,
all you have to do is get the Spire up, keep making mutas, and Protoss will eventually lose. You definitely have enough minerals that you can get enough mutas to win the game before those patches run out, especially with 2 islands here.
I think Deer made a poor choice to not try to check the islands.
I think Deer could have still won this.
Absolutely.
He just, and this is why it's really exciting to have island maps in the game, or I should say at least maps with islands on it.
And this is why we explained this to you guys at the beginning of the game, because it actually ends up being such an important moment. You can see Deer shaking his head now that his camera is up.
He's going, oh man, I guess that's it. Yep, he's even taking his hand off the mouse.
I think he's going to type out.
He's just
He's
thinking,
come to terms with it.
Anything else I can do here? And with 2 islands taken, that's it. This was a super cool play.
He types out. GG. There you go. Very well played there by Biel, making the right choice at the very end. They have an upset here in game number 1. A game that Deer very well could have won. But just something was unable to based off of the choice he made there at the end of the day. Really cool game.
I gotta say, Deer is not going to be happy with that because Deer was playing better for most of that, but Biel had the genius to say, wait a minute, I'm going to try to sneak the islands off over here, and if I get it, then I'm going to win the game because I have too many mutas. And he did it, and it worked, and you know what? More power to him. I'm really happy for Biel there. We might actually have a Zerg go on, guys.
Yeah, I feel like because Deer didn't know, his first priority should have been the islands. Also, if he defended his base and kept the economy low and killed the mutas while they were trying to kill him, he could have had an opportunity. Checking bases with his army instead of making hallucinations even, he clearly just got flustered there. Like, he made a lot of small mistakes that ended up being his demise. And that will happen to you in games where you basically have the win and then suddenly it's taken from you on a map that is a new map, and players they don't know it as well. So, a very rare circumstance. We talked about it at the beginning of the game. Islands are not really a thing, and they're slowly becoming one. And you need to keep this in mind. This would happen on Lost Temple all the time. Where's the hidden base? Oh my God, it's on the island.
Oh my God, he's on the island.
That's
and now I
QXC's
can't get it.
joke, you know, scan the island, right?
Scan
like you
the
gotta
island,
check.
man.
You gotta check
there. All right, guys, this is game number 2. A map with no islands. King Sejong Station. Down here in the bottom right with a 1-0 lead, he is
CJ Entis. Yo.